Hi everyone, for today's book review we're going to be reviewing Grasse. This French liner that had a long life under many different names, including Empress of Australia and Venezuela. This is a bilingual book. It is written by two Frenchmen, and the text in this book is a combination of both French and English. Everything is divided equally. There's French text on the left side and there's English text on the right side. All the captions are likewise in both languages. This book has been written by Gilles Barnichon and Peric Roulet, and I apologize sincerely if I've mispronounced those names. Apologies. Sometimes it's the smaller liners that ended up having interesting lives, not the big headline grabbing ocean liners. And the life of the Grasse is exactly that. It had a 4-decade-long career, 3 different owners, 3 different names, ended up sinking twice, and may have possibly even reached its 50th birthday had it not run aground under mysterious circumstances. And this book covers every aspect of the life of this very interesting ship. It is laid out chronologically, and we understand that this ship was built in the UK because French shipyards were just simply at capacity, rebuilding their fleet after the First World War. There were many delays, but eventually the Grasse was launched and entered service in 1923. It operated as an intermediate liner, or in the 30s as it became known as the cabin class liners, and this ship essentially laid the foundation for the more spectacular Lafayette and Champlain cabin class liners that entered service in the 1930s. In fact, its hull form served as a basis for the Lafayette, and you can see the close resemblance between the two. The ship was gradually modernized and improved in the 1930s, and through the various photos that you can see up here, elements of the superstructure would be gradually expanded throughout the ship's career, and of course the interiors were modernized from very functional utilitarian appearances through to more Art Deco styled interiors. During the Second World War, the ship was requisitioned and used as a base ship for Betesom, which was the Italian submarine squadron that assisted the Germans in the Battle of the Atlantic. Towards the end of the Second World War, mines were dropped under the hull, detonated, and the ship was scuttled. After the Second World War, it was found that despite the damage, the ship was in very good condition. It was refloated, rebuilt, refitted, reappeared with modernized interiors and a single chunky funnel as opposed to the 2 slim ones, and re-entered service, starting the French line's liner service on the North Atlantic. The first French ship to restart the French line's liner service was the Oregon, but the Grasse was the first liner to restart their service, while the Liberty was still sunk and needed to be refloated and rebuilt, and of course the Ile-de-France was having its complete rebuild and reconstruction. As new ships came online, the Grasse soon found itself in need of another job. It was coming up to 30 years old, and the French decided to sell it. It was very quickly bought up by CP, Canadian Pacific, who were in desperate need of an extra liner. Their Empress of Britain, formerly the Duchess of Richmond, had burnt down, and they needed an extra ship to handle the spike in traffic for the coronation year. So the ship was renamed Empress of Australia, never visited Australia, but anyway, and served with them for 3 years, until Canadian Pacific's new liner, Empress of Britain, came on in 1955. And once that ship had entered service, then CP put up their Empress of Australia for sale. And yet, the ship found another career. It was sold to the Italian Ciosa lines and renamed Venezuela. And after a few years of South American service, the ship was given another facelift, and as you can see up here, a beautiful raked bow was added, which certainly modernized its appearance. Although if you look at the ship from the stern, you can still see that it was definitely a 1920s liner with its traditional counter stern. Unfortunately, as it was approaching its 40th year, in the year 1962, the ship ran aground and was extensively damaged. Upon being refloated, it was found that the damage was just too extensive for a ship that was so old and would be sold for scrap. There are rumors that there was some suspicious going-ons regarding that particular voyage, that the ship was carrying a cargo of gold, and when the ship ran aground, that there was some interference with the radar that may have caused it to veer off course. This is all conjecture, but it does add some interest to that final voyage. As you've seen up here, this book is beautifully illustrated with high quality black and white photos. Everything here is black and white. There are no color pictures in this book. Many of them are rare. I've never seen them before, depicting all phases of the ship's life, from its construction through its various iterations, rebuilds, reconstructions, wrecking, and ultimate scrapping. There is, at the very end, they wrap things up by providing a summary chapter of the origin of the name, Admiral de Grasse, and some of the other ships that have been named de Grasse. And there is a series of outline drawings taken from Frederick Emmons' The Atlantic Liners, which also depict how extensively the ship's profile changed over time. Should this book be republished, this particular edition was released in 1998. It would be great to expand with some side profiles, cutaways, if there are any color photos, particularly in its post-war years. That would be great to see. But as it stands, this book is a beautiful tribute to this long-lived and interesting ocean liner. And if you are interested in the lesser-known liners, if you are interested in French liners, if you are interested in shipping between the 20s and the 60s, then this book has plenty for you to read and enjoy. And I highly recommend it. It is a 4 captain's hat for me. So, if you are interested, do check it out.